whenever you're live.
Okay, no problem. I got audio now. Cool. I also have your screen open on my phone. Yep, looks like it's live. Interestingly, the Discord stream is way brighter than the actual stream. It's not that significant, but if it's quick, that would actually be great. Cool. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Thank you very much. All right, cool. Did Gus do any kind of like preface or introduction to the event yet, or should I lead us in as well? All right. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Ultramania Fall 2022 Relay. I go by Soft Drink, and the players here are Kiwi STG and Ayu-chan playing Mushihimesama Ultra Mode. Great way to kick off this event. The lineup for this event is absolutely stacked. Fantastic stuff coming up, so should be a really, really cool watch. I'm super excited to be on comms for the first couple runs here. So both of these players are going to be running Ultra Mode, and I believe both are going to be using the W-powered shot type, and they're both going to be displaying scoring strategies. However, there's a difference in kind of the degree to which they're going to be emphasizing scoring. So Kiwi, who is the current world record holder for several categories for this mode, is going to be playing all out with his highest level strategies. He's using no auto fire, but he will be using the glitch trick in this game, trying to manually trigger that. He's been practicing that for a while, and though it's not going to be as effective as using auto fire or macros to trigger it, he's still able to do it by hand, which is quite impressive. Meanwhile, Ayu is going to be demonstrating more, for lack of a better word, traditional scoring that isn't abusing the game mechanics as much. And the impression that I got from what little background I have on this run is that this is going to be more of this is how to start scoring Ultra. And Kiwi is kind of going to be demonstrating how far that rabbit hole goes. So, Ayu here already started his run during my intro here, my apologies. What you might notice here is that the chain count in the corner there is kind of continually rising over the course of the stage. Ending around 5 or 6k is pretty typical for a sort of full chain of stage 1 in Ultra, when you're not abusing any significant tricks. Ooh, that was kind of spicy. Okay. I have not seen that particular strategy. Okay, so point blanking this boss is quite common, but and there you go, the swag spot. Same as safe spot right there in the second phase, but in the first phase, point blanking that aggressively and using a bomb, really, really cool. Okay, Kiwi, I'm getting some feedback that I'm quiet and Ayu's stream is too loud. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Alright. So we saw that Ayu ended with stage 1 with around, I think, 6k before the last enemy kind of dropped. He's already at 3k coming into the kind of big windmill stage, and that's going to keep going up again. Stage 1, you can't do quite as much with the glitch exploits and if you're playing without it, you can't do quite as much with autofire exploits because you don't have options yet. But you can still push the system. Alright, killing the first Nautilus in stage 2. Normally these kind of round, pokey bush things look a little bit like sea urchins. You'd see players sitting on top of those and trying to sort of nip them for points. And it's killed the first technique, and that's great for safety and survival, but it does dramatically reduce the score potential of the stage. Kiwi already at 13K on the counter before the end of stage 1. Alright, so it does not. I do think I was doing some slow tapping here. It's not as pronounced as what we would normally see, but this counter is still going up. Okay, bomb there, probably for safety. Not quite sure what was happening there, but I guess that was a safety bomb. Coming out of it with okay, that's part of the reset. So both players are playing on PCB, so resets are going to have to be handled by self-destructing all the lives. So it will take a little bit longer to actually execute that reset than you might see on a lineup. So a couple quick notes about terminology that I'll be using throughout the run. I'll bring up something called super shot a fair bit, especially in the context of boss fights. Now, there's some interesting quirks with how this game's shot mechanics. One of them is that if you hold down the rapid shot button while mashing the normal shot button, and when I say normal shot, I mean the button that you have to tap for auto fire and hold for sort of focused laser. If you hold C while rapidly tap and hold, you get massively increased damage in some versions of Mushihimesama against especially bigger enemies. You just generally do more damage at point blank range, but it does depend a little bit on what shot button. W power, which is both of the players are using, you want to be at extremely close range, and ideally you want to be mashing around 12 Now here, against a mid-boss, the players are going to be going for what's called a slow attack, which is exactly what it sounds like. Tapping that main shot button slowly, and ideally you want to see that big counter that's on top of the enemy flick to red very briefly. So what's happening here is that there's kind of two counters you want to keep track of in your scoring this game. There's a big counter, which is kind of the current value of all the gems, the amber items collected. And then there's smaller counters that are generated for each of your options that you have. Now, when that gauge flips from white to red like that, it's actually adding the value of your options onto that main counter value. And if you abuse that, you can make it go up very, very, very quickly. The glitch involves switching between the C and E buttons with a very precise one-frame overlap, or technically when you're being hit, not necessarily in a video frame, where that will actually cause the counter to continue to go up while those sub-counters are also added on top. The details of that are a little bit beyond what I think is important for this event, but suffice to say it's a huge exploit, and playing with those tricks can massively increase your score. As you saw there, Kiwi came out of stage 2 with something around 160,000 on the counter, and he already has 60 million? Yeah, 62 million points, which is enough for both score extenders. The numbers are only going to go up from here. Stage 2 boss in Ultra, famously difficult fight, big wall in the early game, using a single bomb on the first phase to destroy a bunch of its legs all at once. Ooh, nice dodging there! So normally you would see players kind of misdirect that for a chevron pattern. They would want to sit up above the boss in the corners. Okay, so he's not going for a reset, he's going to play it out. Interesting, curious to see how that goes. Now he'll be going for some extremely risky strategies in stage 3, so based on my conversations with him, I think probably what will happen here is that he'll be looking to see how the run goes here at stage 3 before he decides if he wants to reset. And we do have a pretty generous reset window for this game. I think it's about 4,500 reset window. So both players can get pretty deep into the game, get a few runs in, warm up a bit before they decide if they want to reset. Yeah, so IU is going for some slow A tapping here against the stage 2 boss. Again, notice that flick of the big counter between red and white. And out of it about 120k. Awesome stuff. Okay, Kiwi took a hit there. Looks like he is going for a reset now. Kiwi, I'm getting some feedback that we have the life count cut off as well. Hang on, let me... Sorry, I'm going to mute myself for one moment while I relay this stuff to Kiwi. Testing. 1, 2, 3. How's everyone doing? Is the audio any better? It sounds like that may have been adjusted. The other thing was that the stream from IU has the life count cut off a bit. Is that on your end or is that from the source? And some of the chat is also asking if you can bring my volume up a bit. Hey, Refki, what's up? All right, yeah, that's looking a lot better here. All right, cool. All right, IU here, about to finish off the stage 2 boss. Very nice. This is looking like a much cleaner run compared to the last attempt there. Pretty solid scoring as well, coming in with looks like about 56 million. Now, stage 3 is one of the first places where the score will really skyrocket in this game. Over the course of this stage, if you're playing for survival, you probably won't see your counters get very high, and you probably won't score very much through this stage. But if you're playing for score, those numbers can get absolutely massive. So here, for example, he's sitting against the edge of the screen, minimizing damage to this kind of sub-boss part here, this big sort of bug tail. And he wants to do that to keep it alive long enough that he can maintain the chain through the rest of the segments of the stage. So stage 3, you're moving across the back of this enormous bug, and it has a ton of huge destructible parts. And you want to try to carry the chain through all of those components of the sort of stage. It's almost like a big battleship raid. The challenge there is that when you're not actively damaging something, the chain value goes down very, very fast. So you want to delay the kill on a lot of things. It's kind of similar to Dodonpachi chaining in concept, but the actual execution is quite different because it relies a lot on this sort of tapping of the C button to do just these tiny little bursts of shot. So it looks relatively easy when you see players execute it well, but it's quite difficult to do, especially with all the Zako on the edges of the screen. Oh, yeah, there you go. Moments like that, when the Zako are coming down on the sides of the screen, there are these little gaps in between your shots when you're trying to sort of feather that damage and keep that chain alive. It can be really dangerous. But IU is getting right back into it. All right, so here we're going to want to see that chain value maintained as we cut over to the left and onto the kind of the left shoulder of this big bug. There you go. Here it can drop a bit. Nice. And now it should be pretty steady during these sort of wings. Yep, here we go. All right, Kiwi going up for the safe spot in the second phase. Now, the position of that safe spot is pretty consistent, but it does depend on the timing with which you kill the first phase of that boss. The boss has sort of a fixed pattern where it'll move up and down at a specific timing. So if you kill the first phase with a consistent timing, you'll be able to line yourself up pretty reliably for that that safe spot in the second part of the stage 1 boss. Oh yeah, and so Ayu there, the chain value went down quite a bit. Again, it's quite difficult to maintain the chain. Even just a few frames of not doing damage in the right way will cause a massive drop. And on this stage, there's a lot of little things that can get you. So playing it safe is not a bad idea if you don't know exactly what you're doing. So the neck here, very kind of a tricky moment. The components of the neck, as they become damageable, they fire these big kind of waves. But then when you destroy them, in between the neck components becoming possible to destroy, there are Zako that can fire bullets at you. And so it's quite difficult sometimes to tell what's happening because the Zako will be firing when the neck isn't firing, but then they'll stop firing as soon as the neck can fire again. Right here, I use setting up for the famous skyrocket moment in stage 3. If you come into this section with a high counter, and then you build up your option counters, usually you want to hit around 5 to 700 or more on your option counters, then you rapidly mash C, you can get your counter to just shoot up. And you saw there IU finishing with a counter in excess of 200,000. So came into the stage with 50 million points for most of the stage, did not see a huge amount of points, but then right at the end, boom, all the way up to 100 million. Using a couple bombs here on the stage 3 boss. The first phase of the stage 3 boss is absolutely gross. Alright, Kiwi moving through stage 2. Looks like he took a hit to the mid-boss there, which is a little unfortunate. But there's plenty of game left. And like I said, we're going to be seeing some really crazy stuff happening in stage 3. Alright, Ayu coming into stage 4 with 4 stock, I think 2 bombs, and about 110 million points, which is pretty solid. Keep in mind that it's entirely possible to reach the end of the game with less than 50 million points if you're not really trying to score. So this is already a pretty significant number. Stage 4 is a lot about knowing where enemies are going to come and proactively positioning yourself in a way that allows you to handle that threat safely. So you'll see these green beetles that come from the top of the screen. Both players are going to want to be positioned under them as they spawn so that they're able to take them out effectively. And there's also moments where they're going to want to be on a very specific part of the screen so that they can misdirect the fire from a lot of the smaller enemies. Now coming up here, right before the stage 4 mid-boss, is one of the trickiest parts of the game from a pure survival perspective. You get a bunch of these green beetles coming down one after another, and then they start coming in groups of 2. So there's going to be one big grasshopper enemy that comes down the center, and then after that there's going to be kind of sequences of 2 of those green beetles that come down from the top of the screen. So quick gap here. You want to kill as many of these small water enemies as you can. And now here, you have to deal with these waves of green beetles. Nicely done. Yeah, very, very clean. Awesome stuff. Stage 4 mid-boss, we'll probably see some slow taps in the beginning. Ooh, that was a little spicy. Some slow taps in the beginning, and then once those option counters, again, those smaller numbers, once those get 700, 800, 900, we'll start seeing a switch to mashing the rapid shot button, and that main counter value is just going to rocket up. That is, if he's playing for score. Looks like that may not be the case here. Yeah. So we did not see a stage 4 mid-boss skyrocket from Ayu. Let's see what Kiwi does when he gets there. But still, totally fine. Again, Ayu's routes are supposed to be a more approachable way to demonstrate scoring in this game, and certainly the stage 4 and stage 5 mid-boss skyrockets are exceedingly dangerous because they involve keeping the mid-boss alive until the next section of the stage starts happening. And so you have a lot of, Zako and other enemies that will start shooting at you. If you're playing for safety or for more consistent routing, makes a lot of sense that you might want to avoid those. Now here with the Kiwi, oh man, he's going for it. Kiwi's found out that if you sit in this corner, oh my god, there you go. Oh man. So if you sit in the corner there and you are using the either an auto fire setup to trigger the glitch or manually triggering the glitch, you can build counter very, very quickly. So you see, he's already at 70k counter. He's only on the first shoulder of the big bug. Still has to move over to the next one. So he's going to crank this as high as he can possibly get it. And these setups they're not safe spots, except with very specific RNG. And as far as I know, there's not a cue to indicate if that state is correct. So he's just kind of winging it. Okay. That may have been killed a little earlier. Okay, there you go. So now, again, feathering that damage, trying to prolong this section. Nice. And Ayu coming up on the stage 4 boss. So stage 4 boss, generally you see a lot of point blanking in the first phase. So this first pattern is going to be some point blanking, then drop down, use a bomb, rush back up, use that super shot point blank. Should be able to kill it right there. There you go. Skip into the second phase, skip a couple patterns, wait for this. Once the small bullets reach the player, use another bomb. Perfect. Get up there, super shot, close it out. Perfectly done. Lovely stuff. All right, and Kiwi here up on the neck. Looks like the counter did drop a little bit there. Again, some of those transitions between these big sections of the stage enemy, it can be really difficult to maintain that counter value. So right here, he's getting up right on top of this head before it becomes vulnerable, trying to crank the value of those small sub counters. He's at 700, 800. Okay, and now he's switched to the C tapping for the skyrocket. So 300k, 350k, 400k. And now he wants to destroy all of the claw pieces before destroying that central head. If he does that, and if he does not use a bomb to destroy that central head, you can use a bomb to destroy the other parts. He will get a 1-up item. That's the one fixed 1-up in the game. Nice. So 236 million coming out of stage 3. That's a very, very good score. All right, Ayu moving through stage 5. Now, stage 5 is interesting because it has a lot of very strict routing in some sections, but it also has huge cancels in some other sections. So right here, for example, we're seeing aggressively taking out these like praying mantis looking things. And that's very important. You want to take those out right away so they don't have a chance to clog the screen with bullets. But then these giant pitcher plants, when you destroy them, they will cancel all the bullets on the screen. So you have a lot more freedom to route when you know where those cancels are. But there are some other sections of the stage that are very precise. We'll see a little bit more of that in the second half. After the mid-boss, it becomes even tighter. All right, and Kiwi coming into stage 4. Now, Kiwi's movement in the opening of stage 4, and I did the same thing. He's going to move way over to the side and then cut back through, and that movement allows him to make an opening in the otherwise very chaotic spray from those enemies on the cliffside there. that opening section, it's very easy to wall yourself if you're not precisely lined up. And there's the heart. All right, IU coming up to the stage 5 mid-boss. So again, this is another section of the game where we might see some slow A-tap skyrocket setups, but it's super risky to go for those. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, definitely going for the slow A-tap. So that's rough. Still going for it, looks like. And then, oh no. Oh, that's brutal. Okay. Still going for it though. All right. So now here, what we'll see is that counter is high, but the mid-boss transition, like the mid-boss doesn't get killed in time. It sort of times out. And so we have to transition into the next part of the stage while the mid-boss is still on screen, which is very dangerous. Nicely handled there for that end transition. Kiwi, the stage 4 mid-boss now. And again, we're going to see slow tapping to build up those option counters, and then rapid mashing at close range to make that. Oh, no! Okay, well, here you go. He uses the iframes there to get up close and start the skyrocket. So we went from no combo at all, no counter at all, up to 140,000 pretty much instantly because he was able to. Oh no, man! Both players are having a little bit of a rough time right now. Oh god, I had to open my mouth. I'm sorry. This end section of stage 5, like I mentioned earlier, has some really precise moments where you need to be right on time with your movement and your timing for kills. And IU just a little bit off there. These larger enemies that shoot out the big arc kind of walls, those will cause a cancel when they're destroyed. But getting in between them is tricky, especially in those last couple transitions there. All right, now this is the final cutback before the stage 5 boss. I want to move up here, make an opening, and slide on through. Very nice. Yeah. Nice. Making it look easy. So IU on the stage 5 boss. Not quite the final boss of the game. There is a TLB. And Kiwi approaching the stage 4 boss. He still has a couple more of these worms, snakes, centipedes, whatever you want to call them. He's got a couple more to go. The route that those take through the stage is static. So once you learn a path, you can consistently use that. Alright, so a lot of these patterns are mostly about tapping or knowing kind of what region of the screen to be in. This one here, for example, you want to move up. It's going to bounce off the walls once. So you want to move up and slightly off center. Ah, not quite. Yeah, so he was trapped there, had to use a bomb. Oh, and Kiwi taking a hit to the stage 4 boss. Alright, good damage from IU against that first phase. Now coming into the second phase. Most of the second phase is just going to be, most of the first part of the second phase, I should say, is just going to be fine movement. Oh, man. And then this pattern is visually disorienting. It's not all that tricky. Oh, gosh. Man. Oh, man. That was a really solid run up until stage 5, and then it just fell apart. Stage 5 is brutal. Oh, man. All right, 207 million, though. That's a pretty respectable score for quote-unquote not high-level scoring. So, oh, and there goes Kiwi. Okay. So both players are out. I believe we're still within the reset window. Let me see what the schedule says. Yeah, we're still in the reset window. Cool. Yeah, split back ribbon. Mushi is a brutal game. Mushi Ultra is an especially brutal game. The thing that's really heartbreaking about this, right, is that both players made it very deep in the game, but the biggest wall to a clear in Ultra is usually the TLD. And if you've seen this game before, you know why. So hopefully we'll see at least one clear tonight. Ideally two. But there are absolutely no guarantees. This mode is very unforgiving. This is kind of cool though. Now both players are pretty much synced up for this reset. Coincidentally, they happen to do that reset at almost exactly the same time. So we're able to see really side by side the difference in their strategies and in their scoring. And one of the things that's a little interesting is that the scoring is not linear. So whereas Kiwi has 4 times ish IU's counter right now, that doesn't translate into 4 times more score. In fact, it's only a little bit more score. It's like 1.5 times right now. But by the end of the stage, that difference will probably be significantly larger. It's always difficult to talk about scoring in depth in this game because there's a lot of little nuances to it that are not very friendly to try to communicate during a live event. So you go 3.8k from IU, 14k on the counter from Kiwi, and that resulted in about twice the score difference. As opposed to, you might think like 3.5 times or something, but no, IU came out of that with 2.6 million, Kiwi came out of that with 5 million. Again, IU with a super aggressive first phase point blank. I like that a lot. Really cool. And again, both players going for the fun safe spot. The interesting thing about that safe spot is if you don't position it right, you die instantly. And if you use the wrong shot type, you die instantly. So it is actually the most consistent way to do that part of the boss if you have the right conditions set up for it. But it is not a get out of jail free card. You do have to put some work into timing it and lining it up. All right, so coming up on the first kind of non-ambush section here. So again, IU's just killing these bushes right away, whereas we see Kiwi leaving them alive, letting them just flood the screen with bullets to get that counter up. And it doesn't even make that big of a difference yet. The real difference will come in a moment here as we transition into the mid-boss. So Kiwi's going to enter this mid-boss with 30-ish K. And ideally that's going to go... Oh, gosh. Man, I keep opening my mouth. All right, looks like a reset here from Kiwi. IU's still in it. And now he's banking. So again, building up those option counters and then kind of cashing them out with rapid tapping of the rapid shot button. Coming up to, here's 130,000. And there's first score extend. Probably going to see second score extend before the end of the stage as well. A little bit of a drop there during the transition over, but not too bad. Again, the chaining in this game can feel really strange because it's really about consistently doing damage to things. Even if it's just a tiny edge of your shot, that's enough. But then there's also some enemies that'll kind of pause the drop. Like in particular, there's some enemies near the end of stage 1 where destroying them will cause the counter to just sort of sit at its value for a moment. Nice misdirect there from IU. Again, that this bomb is pretty common in ultra routing because the first phase of this boss fight is just really silly. So really nice damage management there, killing that first phase early before it has a chance to throw a bunch of nasty stuff out. Now here, getting up high if he can. Okay, yeah, and then a bomb and point blank. It's really difficult to dodge that sort of chevron wall pattern once that gets going. So you often see players either try to use iframes to get through it, like by bombing, or a huge misdirect kind of situation. The pattern is actually fixed to aim downwards, so if you sit diagonally up above it, you can still do a lot of damage to the boss in the kind of the safe spots in the upper left and upper right corner of the screen. All right, heading into stage 3 now. Kiwi on the stage 1 boss. Kiwi didn't quite line up for the attack there the way that you'd normally expect. So generally you see people line up for that attack a little bit off center and then tap down. He was kind of bottom center and then just moved left and right. Not sure if that's a strategy or if that was just being a little bit off time. Again, are you minimizing damage on that bottom section to keep the chain going into the other sections of the stage here? Stage 3 is really interesting because almost everything in the stage, at least up to the next sections, is directly aimed at you. And so you get a lot of mileage in this stage out of just having a good understanding of the timing of when enemies are going to be firing, and by making really smooth cutbacks in those windows that you might have when you're not firing. But it can be really tricky as well because some of the patterns are very visually disorienting, or the timing can be tricky to feel out if you're not really accustomed to it. Kiwi going for the Nana Bush again. It just looks so crazy. And IU on the transition over into the right shoulder. Alright, so come on, Kiwi. So here we're on the slow A tap. Again, trying to build the value of those option counters up. 700, 800, 900. All right, and now we're cashing it out. So he's going to want to get as high as he can here, probably 200k, 150k, something like that. 130. Okay. So the interesting thing there is IU actually got a very similar amount of counter out of the stage 2 mid boss without using the Nanabush setup. I think the difference here may be, and I need to check my notes for this, I don't quite recall, my apologies. I think the difference here may be that IU might be using auto fire, and Kiwi, I know for a fact, is playing without auto fire. Which again, if that is the case, goes to show just how big of a difference auto fire can make in this game, or even how big of a difference just execution can make, just the variation in timing between different players, or different runs by the same player. Just a small difference in the rate at which you're hitting buttons can make a huge change to your score. Alright, IU coming up on the neck and the big skyrocket. So his counter is all the way down, which is unfortunate, but again, most of the counter in the stage comes right here at the very, very end. So for non-high end scoring purposes, you can still get a lot of mileage just off of this end section if you execute it well. So it wants to get right up on top of that. Right now trying to pump up the value of those option counters. 700, 800. All right, and now cash out. 150, 160, 170, 180, 200. All right, and now take out all the claw sections, move back to the middle, and get that one up. Kiwi cleaning up the stage 2 boss. Split Black Ribbon in the chat. Some people use autofire macros with different hertz set to different buttons. Yes. There are a number of different fire rates that you want for different circumstances. And one of the things that's a little bit tricky about it as well is that oh man, Kiwi taking a hit there right at the start of stage 3. Not a big deal for scoring necessarily, but it is a problem for survival. Obviously, you want as many resources as you can get in this game, especially in the later stages. He's taken 2 hits now on this run. So that's not a... Oh, and that's 3. That's a reset. But yes, there are players who have quite a few different auto-fire setups for this game. One moment. Yeah, so at least according to my notes, Ayu is playing with auto-fire. I was just checking there during the stage transition. Yeah, and exactly. What does that mean? Like, it might be, you might only be using 1 or 2 auto-fire buttons. You might be using 6. You might be using 12. Like, who even knows? I think when I was talking to Kiwi about it, he had managed to get to a setup where I think he had 6 auto-fire buttons. I could be misremembering that. It might only be like 4. But either way, it's it's more than 1. And in this game in particular, if you want to go for the glitch, you actually want auto fire for both the main shot and the rapid main shot, and you want to stagger those slightly. It's a little complicated. I think Kiwi had to, when he was practicing in MAME, he had to use a combination of both MAME autofire and external autofire tools triggering the MAME autofire so that he could get that to work. Alright, so far Ayu's looking very clean on stage 4. Does not have resources to bomb right now, but his stage 4 route was really solid last time we saw him here. So, of course, right after I say that, I'm truly sorry. I really am. He was saying 3's all you need for normal stuff. Yeah, that sounds about right. But what I was going to say earlier is that the rate you have to tap at actually varies depending on the slowdown in game. So if you really want to push it, you have to have different auto fire rate depending on the rate at which the game itself is updated. So when there's a lot of slowdown, you have to tap more slowly when you're doing slow A tapping, for example. All right, nice movement there from Ayu. Very clean entry into the snake section. And when you kill the tail of the snakes, it destroys the entire rest of the body, and it also causes a screen cancel. We're going to see that throughout the ending section of stage 4. We already have on the previous runs as well. So a lot of the routing for the end of stage 4 is about knowing when you want to go for that screen clear and where you want to be when some of these water enemies start appearing. Because as you can see right now, these water enemies, when they show up, they fire this sort of three-way wall that's aimed roughly around the player. That can really close off your movement options and trap you very quickly if you're not prepared for it. Oh, man. Kiwi, no. Oh, boy. Still going. Still going for the bushes. I really... Damn. Yeah, very clean stage 4 from IU. The one death there was during, again, arguably one of the hardest sections of the entire game, and the rest of the stage was executed very, very, very clean. Ooh, a little early on the bomb there, but seems to work. Oh, no! He was like 2 pixels away from the next phase. Ah! Alright, well. Oh, double bomb there. Interesting. I'm not sure why that would be. I'm not sure why you would double bomb there. Maybe off route, maybe a safety thing, maybe something else entirely. I'm not sure. Is reset time over? I think yes, actually. I think reset time did hit about 4 minutes ago. So actually, yeah, Kiwi's death there might have coincided just barely after the reset window. Although we also started about 5 minutes late, so, you know, there's that. We probably should have a reset timer. That'd probably help. Kiwi on the stage 2 boss. One interesting fact I haven't mentioned yet, the bomb animation, how Reiko throws that little kind of seed pod out. Where the bomb itself actually travels on screen is influenced by the player's movement. So if you move forward or backward or to the side, you can actually throw that bomb in different directions. And the point where that bomb lands deals the most damage. So against bosses, you actually want that little kind of thrown seed pod thing to land directly on the boss to do optimal damage. Some of these tricks that you're seeing these players do, where they speed kill certain phases and whatnot, they're literally not possible to execute properly if you don't hit the boss itself with that bomb. So even though it seems like a very minor thing, it's actually very important to aim that bomb correctly in some circumstances. If all you're using it for is a screen clear and a moment to breathe, sure, whatever. You can kind of throw it anywhere. But if you're using it for quick kills, it is important to aim it. All right, so IU here closing in on the stage 5 mid-boss. Again, nice big juicy cancels off of the pitcher plants here. And Kiwi coming up to stage 3 again. So on both streams, things are about to get pretty spicy. All right, so last time IU was going for... Oh, no! No. Okay, well, that answers that question. Going for scoring setups again. Again, when you're doing the slow A tap, you're tapping slowly enough that you're not triggering the slowed down movement, the focus movement. And so it can be quite difficult to dodge some of these denser patterns safely. Really nice control there from IU. Kiwi coming into the first wing section, where we might see some really crazy stuff happen. All right, IU going for the cancel right away. All right, Kiwi now into the... Yeah, here we go. Here's the silly stuff. Oh, not quite. Okay, not quite as silly. Oh, I may have spoken too soon. Yeah, I think I spoke a little too soon. Not quite as silly as we saw in the previous run, but still some hairy stuff there. IU very aggressively moving up to take out some of those bigger enemies, trying to clear up some space on the screen. Unfortunately got clipped in the process. Alright, coming up on, I think this is the last big cancel. There might be one more. Yeah, there's this one more here. And Kiwi on the left wing. Yeah, now here's the last big cutback before the final boss. Or the stage 5 boss. Alright. There's the move up. And there's the cutback. And again, just making it look easy. Very nice. Alright. So Ayu at the stage 5 boss for the second time. Again, there is still a TLB fight after this, but this boss is also no pushover. Kiwi up on the neck here. Alright, Ayu is really well positioned for this attack. Oh, okay. Would have gotten walled there. Safety bomb. Alright, move up, move over. Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, man. Well, very, very good play from Ayu, reaching the stage 5 boss twice, with, again, some very solid scoring. This was another 200 million run. Awesome stuff. So, yeah, there's only about 20 minutes left. Unfortunately, I think that might be it. I don't think there's time for another reset. Oh, that's great. Ultramania relay. That's really nice. Thank you very much, Ayu. GG. Well played. Well played. All right, Kiwi now. Stage 3 boss. Just took another hit, too. Doesn't matter. Just dust off. Keep going. So being tight on resources is always very scary in this game, particularly so in Ultra. A lot of the bosses have planned bombs because they're kind of stupidly difficult to fight without using bombs. But that does mean that having, for example, only one bomb at this point is maybe a little less comfortable than it might be in some other games. Now, there is another bomb coming up before the end of the stage, and I believe that the stage 4 boss uses only 2 bombs with Kiwi as well. It's also possible to do it with less, it's just a lot scarier. We'll see how it goes. Alright. And again, here's the heart. So cute. Alright, now coming up on the beetle section. Oh. One of the reasons this section is so difficult is that these beetles fire, I believe it's a combination of aimed and kind of latching, like angle locking shots. So some of their shots are aimed directly at you, and some of them are aimed to sort of a position that snaps near you. And that can make it very difficult to understand where those shots are going. So resources are really tight for Kiwi right now, but he is still going for these score strats. Man. Oh, man. Last stock in stage 4 and still goes for the skyrocket on the mid-boss. Just zero care given. Just going for it. Hell yeah. So that's stage 4 mid-boss. Oh, God. And there it is. Oh, man. Oh, that's a bummer. All right, Kiwi looks like is going to play it through. Credit feeding through to the end. So 300 million, I did not catch which run that was. Again, very solid score, but because the scoring in this game is so geometric, it's also nowhere near what Kiwi has achieved in this game. GG. GG, Kiwi. GG both players. This game does not mess around. Alright, here's the approach to the stage 4 boss. So a pretty common setup here, sitting on the left edge for that one snake to take all the parts, and then sliding over as the one on the right becomes a threat. Nicely done. Alright, stage 4 boss, first phase speed kill. There you go. Phase 2. Bomb right about now. There you go. Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Oh, hello, Snake Grunger in chat. What's up? How you doing? Super aggressive route from Kiwi here, which is both for scoring and for survival. By dealing a lot of damage very quickly, you can get the counter up, and by taking out enemies early, you can prevent them from being dangerous. Look at that. But it does look extremely silly in the opening there, because it's so blind. You have to really be sitting right up at the top edge of the screen for a lot of that. Alright, now I'm going to move up to the left just a moment. There you go. There's going to be 3 of these Manises. 1, 2, 3. Third one may not get a chance to fire. It did, but a little misdirect there, no problem. Making room for a cutback. Slide over. And a big cancel. Kiwi Stage 5 is a joy to watch. But he takes some really big risks at the mid-boss and in the second half of the stage. So I'm really curious to see how this goes, since he doesn't have the pressure of being on a full run anymore. I'm curious just how far he'll take it. Nice. Got it canceled right now. There you go. And then one more, and we hit the mid-boss. Lovely stuff. Alright, counter is going crazy. So this, I think, we're seeing some glitch here. Alright, we'll probably start seeing banking any second. No, still making it rise. 280. 300. Here you go. Now we're banking. Now we're banking. Oh, hell yeah, man. Oh, no. Oh, man. 500K on the counter, and then, oh, that's brutal. That's absolutely brutal. But that's what I'm saying. Kiwi takes some insane risks in the second half of this stage, and the amount of score you can get from it is enormous. With 500K on the main counter, that's probably in the hundreds of millions of points just from the last half of this stage alone. Again, it's extremely geometric, so the distance between 100 million on the counter and 100,000 on the counter and 500,000 on the counter is absolutely massive in terms of what it can do for score. And again, that transition out of the mid-boss into this part of the stage, super, super dangerous because it starts overlapping with the fire from the Rizako and other enemies. Right, so Kiwi now setting up for that final cutback. Much more aggressive setup than what IU uses. Nice to compare the two of them there. And now coming into the stage 5 boss. Even with the death. Even with the death and the game over, still 101 million in stage 5 alone. Ah, that's awesome. So some heavy macro here in this pattern on the first couple waves to make the rest a little easier. Now this pattern can be really tricky because when it stops firing these thick bullets, it speeds up pretty significantly. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, this pattern is really tight, but very nicely handled there. All right, that's phase 1. Now in this phase, there's going to be, the first few patterns are a lot of kind of tap dodging, but you have to move up and down a little bit to handle the kind of overlapping spreads. And then this pattern is very visually disorienting. It's not actually incredibly difficult to dodge mechanically because it's almost entirely aimed, but it is very confusing to look at. Really easy to get tripped up on it. Now this last pattern here will probably be the last one we see before the kill. There is technically one more, but you don't usually see that very often. There's a specific pattern that you want to follow here. That was very tight. All right. And now for the TLB. Here goes. So Kiwi has practiced the TLB fight quite a lot, but it is extremely unforgiving. So this pattern can either be fully aimed at you or essentially static, where you have to kind of almost macro it. This one is reliably right on the first emission and then left on the second one, just tap dodging. And then of course he goes right. Maybe I'm misremembering it again. I guess it's right for all three. Point is, it's static, and once you learn it, it's pretty consistent. We may see a bomb here, depending on how much damage he's been able to deal. This pattern is very silly. Yeah, there's a bomb. You don't want to shoot during the shield around this boss. Okay, here now using super shot and point blanking to do so much damage. You skip this phase pretty much entirely. There you go. All right, and now onto the final pattern. Again, super shot to maximize damage here. And Kiwi going for it. So this pattern is incredibly stupid. There is a technique to it. Very, very nice. Kiwi's practiced a lot of different variations of it. That bomb there was to time the entry into this so that the kind of lanes line up better. There's specific ways that you want to move through it. And after you practice it for a little bit, you'll start to see them that kind of move against the flow of the pattern. Really, really nice damage here. It may not look like he's doing much, but this is a huge amount of damage with every life. The timing on these bombs is really important. You want to time that bomb right at the start of the next phase of that pattern. So very, very nicely done. That was what? 2 miss, 2 bomb? Again, making it look easy. GG's. Yeah. Kiwi. Kiwi in chat. This just in. Game still hard. Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Awesome stuff. Great play from both players. Really cool to see the routing differences, especially in the sections where they were lined up right next to each other or where the differences were quite obvious. So thank you very much, Kiwi and Ayu. Awesome stuff. All right, so looks like we are about to start Ketsui, which will be played by the one, the only Moglar and PKE. So that should be really, really interesting run to watch. It's Type A versus Type B scoring duel, I believe. So both incredibly high level players. Literally the absolute best in the game. Should be pretty fantastic to see. And yeah, stay tuned. We will be rating that channel in just a moment. And yeah, stay tuned. Yeah, good luck, Moglar. Good luck, PKE. Yeah, Split Black Ribbon. I was saying the lineup for this event is absolutely stacked. Tonight it's Mushihimesama Ultra, then Ketsui, then Nikaruga Run by Maz, then high level score play of Darius Burst, another Chronicle, followed by Doronpachi Daijojo Black Label, followed by Mushihimesama Futari Black Label God Mode scoring, and then Like Dreamer to close out the night. And tomorrow has some awesome stuff too. So it is an enormous honor and pleasure to be commentating so many cool runs on an event like this. So thank you very much for having me, guys. I hope you're not sick of me yet, because I'm going to be sticking around for at least another couple hours. I'm also doing comms for the Ketsui and Ikaruga runs, so that should be a lot of fun. I'm also looking forward to the Daijojo and Futari God mode, but I need to sleep, so I'll have to catch the VODs for those after the event, unfortunately. You're in good hands for those, though. Commentators for those are going to be Juju for the Donpachi Daijojo run, and Gus is going to be covering Futari God. Awesome stuff. Take off my shirt. I'm not on camera. I mean, I could take off my shirt, but I don't really see what that would accomplish. Just say I did. All right, is this going to be like an ASMR moment here? Hang on. All right, and the shirt is off. Ah. It'd be really awkward right now if I was actually on camera. Ah. Oh man, don't even get me started on fixing my hair. Man, I've wanted to get a haircut for a while, but work has kept me incredibly busy. So I literally have only had I had like 3 straight weeks with no days off, like no weekends or anything. And during that time, I just could not get a haircut. So I definitely really need a haircut. Yeah, epic is one word. It's maybe not the word I would use, but it is a word. Also, hey Kiwi. Oh, I see. I see. I hear you on mic, and then you just continue typing in chat. I see how it is.
Yeah, I forgot that I can talk.
Have we rated Gus yet?
He is not he's not live yet, but soon.
Okay. Um. Okay.
Yep.
As long as Moglar and Peke know that we're not live yet, then that's all good.
Looks like Peke is live, just waiting on Moglar.
Okay. Gus is busy playing Doom wads. I think he's probably busy practicing Toho 6 super grazes.
I think you could say that at any point in the day and still have it be a pretty good bet.
Yeah. I was watching some of his practice right before the event kicked off tonight, and man, I don't
Oh.
watch Toho scoring very much, but there's some absolutely silly stuff that goes on in those games, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Seems like something he'd be into.
Hang on, I just got a ping.
Looks like he's setting it up right now.
Well, how are you feeling, Kiwi, after that?
Well, you always hope to do better than you do, but I mean, I've come to terms with this game just being really hard and taking what I can get. I just really wish that there were like 3 points in that last run where I bombed right as I died, and I could have like maybe made it to the final boss if I did that, but oh well, lost them all and then had to continue.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I mean,
I'm really
that's
glad
fine.
that you did continue through. It was great to see your stage 5 stuff. So bummed about the 500k counter
I
death.
know.
That was
That's how it always goes. I got in the wrong lane, so it stopped moving and I just died.
Oh man. So what would that have been score-wise if you'd been able to carry that through?
Let's
If you had
see.
to estimate.
So I think I had 77 million right before the mid boss there.
Mhm.
Probably 500 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
Absolutely insane.
yeah. Man.
Ah.
Yeah, if you just do that one part right, then you come out with a pretty respectable score.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, sounds like Gus is live. Let's see if we can raid.
Looks like his setup is pretty much done now. So, you guys ready? Ready to go to Ketsui? Let's see how I can raid. Gotta figure that out.
I think it's /raid and then the name of the channel.
Gotcha. That's easy enough.
Yeah, we're ready.
Awesome. We're heading right over.
All right. This should do it. See you guys later.
All right. Thank you very much.
And